time to say hello to our guests tonight. Now, they've kept audiences gripped on both stage and screen, whether it's in comedy sketch shows, dramatic soap storylines or laugh-out-loud stand-up. Please welcome Ben Miller, Kacey Ainsworth and Joe Brown.
Now, Joe, I'm going to start with you if you don't mind, because we've got to talk Bake Off. Now, because you host a spin-off show, Extra Slice, don't you, to the main show. Now, last night, Sarah Cox, who hosts Between the Covers, she was named Star Baker. Now, Ben here, he was on in 2022.
I've got form, full disclosure.
Star Baker on the same show for Stand Up to Cancer. Me and Alex, nowhere to be seen. We had a nightmare, didn't we, to be honest with you?
Complete nightmare.
It's so stressful.
What do you think about this, Joe? You got anything to... I mean...
Oh, is that...
Here we go.
That is Robin Hood's Bay.
Not impressed. Joe's not impressed.
You don't like that?
Well, what's that?
What is it?
What's that brown?
Fair point.
Light brown.
Fair point.
Light brown background.
It's the cliffs of Robin Hood's Bay where I spent all my sort of childhood seaside holidays, and we had to do the cake had to represent something from our childhood.
Yeah.
I tried the story thing. It didn't work for me. Yeah, I tried the soppy story. It just didn't go down well. They still
I
said
thought
no,
you
not good
had
enough.
like Smurfs in a boat. I didn't understand at all. But it's not. It's people I can see on closer inspection.
We're jealous, Ben. We didn't get Star Baker. We're just
fully
jealous.
realised three-dimensional figures.
Very good.
I didn't get Star Baker. I did it years ago. Mine was horrible.
Something in that.
Now, let's talk about books, because you are taking the hugely popular series on BBC Two, Between the Covers, on the road for the first time. Now, for those who haven't seen it, this is like the best book club around, isn't it? You discuss new releases, everybody brings something that they've loved reading over the years. It's a lovely watch. So how, Kacey, is it going to work?
Well, it's going to work in its expanding what you do on the TV already, but also we're adding some new elements. We're going to bring our own books, but we're also going to have an author who is going to come on and speak about what we think is going to be the blockbuster of the summer. And we've also got author who will come on in the second half. So it's kind of expanding on what you see on this TV show, and it's been so successful that they want to take it out on tour so that more people can see it.
And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good laugh. You know, we hope the audiences don't even have to read the books if they don't want to. They just come along. And you're going to be dancing, aren't you?
Yeah, of course, always. Always.
And I'm not. So there's two good reasons to come.
But it's going to be a lovely evening then for the audience.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So are you going to change the new book pick then? In
As
different
we go
shows?
round?
Yeah.
No, well, this initially is quite a short tour just to see, how it goes, really.
Well, it'll go on and on, Joe, won't it?
Well, I hope so.
Yes.
So, no, we're going to have the same new book pick each show. Well, I think we're doing initially 7 or 8, and we're doing sort of Brighton, Richmond, Nottingham, Birmingham, all over the place. And so we've got the same book each night. And as Kacey said, we've actually got the writer, after we've discussed it, coming on stage to talk about it. So we're going to be really nice about the book, aren't we?
Oh, brilliant.
Will there be arguments?
Of course.
About the books?
Yeah.
Of course there will. Yeah, because we're all very different. So we've got Stephen Mangan as well, who's coming on. And we're all very different, and we all come at literature from a different way and a different angle. So, of course there will be arguments.
And everyone's got so much more into reading, haven't they, since lockdown? I mean, I've always loved reading, but now I'm just so into my books.
Yeah.
And some of the most fun things about doing the show are the chats in between.
Yeah, because we did it together, didn't we? Yeah.
That sometimes don't end up in the actual finished programme.
And it's nice that everybody's perspective can be so different on the same book, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's also unusual because we've got, as you said, an author with us. We've got Joseph O'Connor, who's
that's differency to the show, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's not on the TV show.
No.
And rather sort of serendipitously, I brought one of his novels in as my favourite book for one show. Yeah, purely by coincidence, because a friend of mine that lives in Ireland sent it to me for my birthday, and it was fantastic. So he's a brilliant writer.
It's fate.
We are turning into the One Show Book Club tonight, actually. So some of our viewers have been in touch with some recommendations for the summer. What's the face about there?
What's your recommendation?
I like to read...
Books about football.
Jermaine reads a lot
talk
more.
about stereotypes.
Yeah, no. You
That's
read
out of order.
See, there's an argument already. It's perfect.
But yes, I do.
the
Yeah,
show.
the legacy is what I like. Or the shoe dog. Shoe dog is my.
These are great. isn't it?
I love this one, The Island by Victoria Hislop.
Yes.
Alexander says that's a good one. Read it ages ago.
Yeah, she's great.
She is great,
And Dave recommends The Stranger in Our Bed by Samantha Lee.
Sounds interesting,
Right.
doesn't it?
Sarah Cox written her own.
Yeah,
book
loads,
recently,
and
isn't
she's a brilliant author.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
new one is fantastic.
Is my dad's book in there? My dad's written a book about scaffolding, and it's fascinating.
But it ties in nicely to our former
What's it called?
VT.
It does
Exactly.
Look at it quickly.
What's it
right.
called?
Between the
False work
lines.
and access scaffolds in tubular steel.
Joe's going to read an excerpt
a
every
bestseller
time we
on
go.
I feel
Amazon.
like
I
this
can
has
see.
to
I
be
can
true.
see.
It is true.
It's true.
I'll buy you a copy.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You won't like
Between
reading
the Covers
anymore.
Live begins at the Richmond Theatre on the 1st of June.
We'll be talking to Ben about his crime series, Professor T, very shortly.
Someone else who's ready to entertain us on a Wednesday night is Ben here. He's back on our screens with a smash hit series, Professor T, into Series 3. We are,
Series
Ben.
3 now.
Give us a little, catch up as to where
anyone
we're
who
at.
hasn't seen it, it's basically I play Professor T. He's a professor of criminology, Cambridge University, so it's set in Cambridge, very beautiful, picturesque. Every week there's a baffling murder, as you can expect, and the professor helps them crack the case using the real science of criminology. So it's a really fascinating show because you get, obviously, it's a murder mystery which they're trying to solve, but all the forensics and all the psychology that they use in it is straight from the sort of, a criminologist's textbook. So it's really quite interesting if you're into human psychology.
Well, let's give our viewers a little taste. Here's what's troubling the Professor this week.
Despite the contradictory nature of the evidence, there will be a thread of logic linking the cases.
What would make you sound like you caned it, but also be strong enough to kill?
Indeed. The Donkers, can we find a substance that causes symptoms similar to alcohol intoxication?
Maybe. Yes. Disturbances in the chemistry of the body that manifest as alcohol intoxication can be caused by ethylene glycol.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's very tense. No, Ben, viewers are going to get to...
I didn't understand a word of that, and I was doing it, by the way.
You sold it. Viewers are going to get to learn a little bit more, aren't they, about Professor T in this series?
That's the fascinating thing about the show is that the character of the Professor himself... There's two mysteries in Professor T. There's a mystery every week, the whodunit every week. But the bigger mystery is what is this sort of trauma that happened in his past. He has these really strange visions of being a child and seeing and holding a shotgun to his father's chest. And there's some question, did he kill his own father? Was he involved somehow in his father's mysterious death? And in this season 3, we get the answers, finally, to those questions. They've been sort of teased all the way through. Show available to watch on ITVX. All previous episodes. Cut away from
We're going to do that for you, don't worry.
but basically, all through the previous 2 seasons, they've been sort of teasing what was it, how did his father die, and then you finally get the solution to that murder.
Yeah. And, it's hugely popular, this programme, and also very popular in Belgium in particular. Did you draw any inspiration from that version, or did you try and keep it quite separate?
I did try and keep it separate. The original show was a Belgian show, and it was played by a brilliant, brilliant actor called Koen de Bouw. I'm about to go tomorrow to Ainsworth to film season 4.
Right.
And
With him?
No, I'm just really frightened because Koen de Bouw lives in Antwerp, and every time I go, I think I'm just going to bump into him. It's going to be really awkward at some point. And I'm going to... The 2 Professor T's in some empty Antwerp street. I don't know what will happen. It's like matter and antimatter meeting or something. There'll be an explosion.
Professor T fans will love it.
Yeah.
Do you ever look
Perfect
for...
murder, actually.
Exactly, there you go, yeah. Do you ever look for any, similarities between yourself and the characters that you actually play?
Well, exactly. My character, the Professor, has OCD. He's germophobic. He has OCD, and he has all this sort of past trauma. And I myself have OCD. So that was, I think, one of the things. My OCD is not like his. It doesn't, I don't have the same. It doesn't show in the same way, I suppose. But what I did feel would be really but the most authentic way to do it is sort of play the same feeling that I have when I'm, when I'm doing OCD behaviour, sort of what's going through my mind, and have that kind of process within. Because I have seen OCD done with other characters before, but it always seems to me to be from the outside in, rather than it being, for the person who has OCD. The reason that we do the behaviours is because they provide some comfort in the moment. It's almost like, when I've seen it portrayed before, it's almost like the OCD behaviours are causing the anxiety, which is not the
it's the other way
it
around.
works for me, certainly.
Now, speaking of Series 4, Ben here did some hat shopping. Can you share with the group?
This is so exciting. I'm really into costume because I'm such a terrible actor. I have to find the right costume, and I have to go to any length.
No, you're not.
Oh, thank you.
I was thinking, what?
It took a long time to do that. It took a long time to do that.
We just want to know about the hat, that's why. Everyone's so intrigued with the hat.
Honestly.
Don't take it, Ben.
Thank you. So, basically, in the next series, the series I'm about to do, my character wears a top hat.
Yeah.
For some sort of event that would require a top hat.
Not just in the kitchen.
Not just in the kitchen. And I sort of felt, well, the professor, being who he is, will have his own top hat. So I had to find... It's actually very hard to find a vintage top hat. Can you imagine how much a vintage top hat costs?
Oh, there you are.
This is me in my hat I found today.
Yeah?
£27,000. That
You
top
What,
hat
sorry?
I'm
joking.
That hat that
What,
I'm wearing
you've
there.
been ripped off. That's too much. It's ridiculous.
I got it from a market stall. That man, Colin Rosie, who has his stall there in Spitalfields Market, has the most incredible collection of
It looks amazing. People can't wait to see that in season 4. Thank you very much. Professor T continues Wednesday, 9 p.m. on ITV1, ITVX. And Ben's book, actually, we didn't get to talk about that much. Big Bad Wolf is out now as well. Go and get it.
Thank you.
Now, lots of creatures.
Most definitely.
That is all for tonight. Thanks to Ben, Joe and Kacey for joining us.
Yeah, we've got a great week coming up with some brilliant guests tomorrow. Russell Crowe and Jimmy Carr are with us. We'll see you then. Good night.